Hi, I'm Rod Legrand, and I'm going to show you this software that I want developed, an app that I want developed. And so I'm going to bring this up here and start it right away. Okay. So my company is called Excellence Quest. I started it in 1988, and I am the original sales coach. I created the sales coaching industry in 1988. Did this for 20 years, and in 2008, the economy really took a dive, and I went out of business. And so since then, I have not been doing the sales coaching, and I've decided I wanted to start it up again. And I'm working on developing an app and some software that's an improvement over what I used to use before. So this is what I'm looking for is a quotes on helping me develop this app. So my software, I've called it Selling Machine on Autopilot, which is to keep the salespeople on a regular, like a machine, consistently cranking out sales on a regular basis instead of having the highs and lows. And a lot of that is due to the motivation that we provide, as well as the sales training and other things. So I'm only going to be talking about just the motivation part, and that's what I need here. So this is what it would look like. I decided that I'm going to just kind of lay it out and show it how I picture it in my mind, but it might be laid out differently. It might be differently than what I've laid out here. I'm looking for advice, and I'll get to that in just a minute. But I'm assuming that this is kind of the idea of what I want. I started to get these software written last year, and I was saying, here's my software, which is a different video that you can watch. I can send you that video that shows the actual software that I used to have. It was all on Microsoft Excel, and back in 1988, it was a Star Wars system, but today it's very clunky and it's not, the way it needs to be. But nevertheless, that's what I had back then, and I told a company to recreate it, and they did to a certain extent, and then I stopped, and I'll get to that in just a minute. But now instead, I realized one of the mistakes I made was saying, here's exactly what I had. I want you to make it exactly the same, instead of, let me just tell you, here's what I want. This is the results that I want. So that's what I'm putting here on this app. I've just taken a picture of a phone, two different phones, and then I've created all this, on Publisher. So it just looks like it's an app. And just to give you kind of a general idea of what I'm looking for, none of this is actually functioning. A lot of the samples in here might not have the right figures or numbers or whatever. It's just to give you an idea of what I'm looking for. So this would be the kind of main part of the app. And if we continue, um, well, let me see. Trying to continue here, and it's not advancing. Technical difficulties. There we go. Okay. So up here at the top says Good Selling David, and this is David's app. And David sells printing. And here's Good Selling Scott, and this is Scott's phone, and he sells copiers. They sell different things. It doesn't matter. And so this has their information based on what they sell, based on their history, based on their experience and everything else. So let's continue. This would be the home button down here. And then on the incentive trip, this part here, and then the incentive award, the personal goal, the personal reward, those are each a separate um, screen that we would want to take them to based on the results that I would like to have. So let's just take one at a time. If you click on incentive trip, now it brings up the incentive trip and more information on the incentive trip. If you click on incentive awards, then you're going to see more information on the incentive award. Personal goal, there's their personal goal and their personal reward. I'll get to that in a minute. And then we have the action plan, and here's what they need to do specifically to achieve those goals. And then a motivational moment. and I will get to that a little bit later as well. So here is what I'm wanting to accomplish. My concerns about the previous work that I had done uh, is they seemingly did a good job, and I really don't have a lot of complaint. However, I've been talking to a few people on developing software and everything else, and I realize I've been kind of going the wrong way. And part of it is I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know anything about development of software, websites, apps, or whatever else. And so I've hired someone to do something and I've taken their word on things. And sometimes I wonder if I'm getting everything. Sometimes I get unaudited errors, and it has been frustrating that they have a project manager that they assigned to me. And as they worked on it, I saw a lot of errors. I'm thinking, isn't the project manager supposed to do this? And so it was kind of frustrating to me. And I stopped the project and decided to revamp on what I'm doing. I'm unsure if their coding is satisfactory, what language they're using, or whatever. I don't know this. This is part of my challenge. Is it's over my head, it's out of my realm, and I don't understand what needs to be done to know if I've got someone doing it right for me. I'm not sure if I can trust them. Now, this particular company, I actually do trust them. I have trusted them. And yet, after talking to some other people, they've instilled some, doubt in my mind that, are you sure you can trust them? And so I've decided I'm going to look at this in a different position. Um, they followed my old system, and but they didn't give me any improvements, any advice. I didn't ask them for improvements or advice. I said, here's what I had. This is what I want you to build. But now that I've had some other people look at it and look at what they have already written, they have said, well, it looks a little dated. It looks a little old. There's some things that would be today and in today's world, it should be better. And so, and I don't know what should be better is. So there's my challenge. Um, and I also need to ensure that my software is copyright protected and from them selling it to other parties. They finish developing my software and then do they just change the name on it and sell it to somebody else that's in the same kind of industry in me? I'm in a sales training industry. I'm a sales coach, and that is my industry. So I've had a few doubts, although they have not done anything to cause me to not to doubt them, but I'm just saying I'm just doubting the possibility that something like that could happen. So instead, I've decided I want to hire a CTO, a project manager. Now, I don't have the money, by the way. I'm still not in business. I work part-time or full-time doing another job now, has nothing to do with sales. And I did that when the economy crunched in 2008. And so I'm taking the salary that I have and I'm building this thing so I can finally launch it. Been working on it for 2 years now and I still have not launched it. But I'm going to hire someone on a contract basis just to do this project. And I don't know where I'll find them, but I'm probably going to go to freelancer.com or fiverr.com or other places where I can find somebody. So if you are that person that I've been talking to about just being the CTO, or the project manager, then this is what I want you to listen to. If you happen to be the company that we are asking to give a quote bid on building the site, doing the programming, then this could pertain to you as well. So this is how I want to do it. I want a project manager who learns my business thoroughly. The other company did not learn my business. They learned enough about it, but because they didn't thoroughly learn my business, they couldn't give me ideas or advice on it. And again, it wasn't their fault. It was my fault. I didn't ask them to learn my business. You must understand my software requirements thoroughly so that you can give me advice on how we should build this. And then once we've decided how we want to build this and we get quotes and we decide which company we want to have finished the development of my software, then it's going to be you that's going to make sure they get it done. I don't want to waste my time being bogged down because they didn't do it right or there's errors or whatever else. I want your advice in helping me designing the app and the software, and then help me to obtain those proposals from programmers. And I want no conflict of interest. I do not want somebody within your own company that will do the programming. I want somebody completely separate that has no interest in the company that actually does this. I don't want your brother or your best friend to be doing the programming. I got to completely have it separate so there is no axe to grind. You're going to do this job for me and you work for me instead of trying to help the company that's doing the programming. You're going to work with the programmers to ensure the quality of the work and then help me to ensure copyright protection from piracy of this to make sure that I have that protected. Then you're going to manage the project to efficient and quick completion and get it done. If it takes a month or 3 months or 6 months or however long it takes, that's how long I will be contracting with the project manager, and it is how long I will be contracting with the programmers. Now, I know that in the future it's going to be an evolution, but then I'm going to take a look at how well the project manager did. I'm going to take a look at how well the programmers did to see if I want to continue to go with them on an ongoing basis. Hopefully, that's going to be the case. And also, hopefully, the company that did the first part of the programming of this has more information and knowledge about what I'm doing. And so they've got a leg up as far as who I'm going to select, unless I find someone else that seems to be more competent or has a better pricing structure. So that is how I'm going to make that decision. The programmers, the first thing I'm going to want the programmers to do is program the app. And that's what I'm going to be showing you today. Today is just the app. It's not the software that I started to have built. It's going to be just the app. I want you to meet monthly deadlines so that you can receive payment, and then we will continue on a regular basis. Once we finish the app, if I still want to continue with the project manager and with the programmers, hopefully I will, then I'm going to want them to finish the programming of the software that will connect to the app. And that is my plan. So this is part of my old software that was used in Excel. And occasionally, if you see this multicolor pieces of it, I'm going to only show you just a small partial 1% of my software that I did create just to pull out certain things that I need to have. But what I need is I need to account for all of the activities that lead to the sale and the total sales made and the total sales volume. So this is just numbers that I want to have to be able to build the app. And so it's going to be this information here, which is basically the salesperson's sales process, the cold calls they make, setting appointments, needs analysis, preparing a quote, delivering a quote, follow-ups, everything to close the sale, and then do the print job and then deliver the job, to the customer, all of that. And then down here is the total dollar amount that the salesperson earns and the total volume that he brings into the company. So these are pieces of the information that I need to have so that we can build this. Now, here's how this will work. Let's have the Selling Machine on Autopilot there as the app. And then we have Sales Coach Tom, and Tom is a sales coach for Excellence Quest. And Tom has ABC Company as one of his clients, and ABC Company has two salespeople, Gary and David. And that is what they do. Now they have let's say they have a CRM that they use, and let's say it's Salesforce.com. We need to tap into Salesforce.com to gather that information on all the quotes and follow-ups and everything that each salesperson has made so that we can utilize it for the information that we need in this app. And then let's say Tom also has another client, XYZ Company, and they've got 3 salespeople, and that company uses Go High Level CRM. And if that's the case, then we need to tap into Go to High Level to be able to accomplish what we need to accomplish. And then Tom's also got AAA Company, and that's Sam. And so let's say they also use Salesforce.com. Great. And then he's got Acme Company here, manager with 3 salespeople, and they have a different software. They use HubSpot for their CRM. And if that's the case, we need to be able to tap into HubSpot. So this is kind of the picture of what I have here. This is what we need. And this is all for Tom and his clients for him to be able to assimilate the information that we need to do what we need to accomplish. Now, at the same time, Tom is the sales coach for these people. And then let's say we have another sales coach, and that's Karen, and she's got other companies, and they have different CRMs that they deal with. And then we've got Jim, and he's got his companies, and Dan, and he's got his companies, and they all have their CRMs. And so this is how this whole thing will work with our app system. Now, in the example that I'm going to be giving through the rest of this is we're only going to be using Tom as just one sales coach and what information he needs to be able to have available to him and to his salespeople. So let's dive into this. Okay, so first, let's go on a personal goal. And let's say that we've got David here at the top here, and Scott is on the other smaller phone there, and they have made their goal. Now, David's personal goal is to buy a Tesla, and he has earned his Tesla, 58% of it that he wants to earn. And Scott wants to buy some living room furniture, and that is his personal goal, and he's earned 47% of it, and yet it's green instead of red. Well, that's because David, his goal is to earn his Tesla by November. And Scott wants to earn his living room furniture by the end of December, by Christmas time. And so if that's the case, they're going to earn their awards at different times of the year, which is fine. David needs $9,000 to be able to put down to be able to buy his car, while Scott needs $4,600 for him to buy the furniture outright. So it's different for each of these people. And so because of that, David is a little bit behind on achieving his goal, where Scott is a little bit ahead of achieving his goal. So his is in green and David is in red, even though David has made more money than Scott. So if we click on the goal, we can see a little bit more information about that. So they can enter this information in there. He needs $9,000 to acquire the goal. How does that work? The cost of the car is going to be $74,000. He needs $10,000 down, and he needs another $5,000. Oh, the other income, by the way, doesn't need $5,000. He plans to sell his old car. So he's going to sell his old car for $5,000, and that's going to be another part of that income is going to go toward the down payment on his car. And then he needs to pay off some of his debt of $4,000. So that means a total of $9,000 is what he needs to be able to achieve his goal. And then this thing will also give him information on how long you're going to finance it, what's the interest rate going to be. It'll show him what his monthly payment is going to be. And this will be helpful to him to kind of plan out how he can afford to buy this car. Maybe he wants to keep it under $700 a month. Let's take a look at Scott. Scott wants to buy his living room furniture. It's just $3,000 for the furniture, and that's the total cost and also the total down payment. So he's going to pay the whole thing off. But he also wants to pay off a credit card and pay cash for the entire living room set. And so the debt payoff is $1,600 that he wants to pay off before he buys the living furniture. So that means he needs $4,600 for him to achieve his goal. He's not going to finance it, so there's no financing information there. So this is information that they have for their personal goal. And I want them to have the pictures in there where they can upload the picture so they can keep it there in front of them. One thing about helping salespeople achieve goals is they make their goal and 2 weeks later they've forgotten about it. 3 months later, they can't even remember the details about their goal. We want to keep that in front of them. We want to keep a picture in front of them, and we're going to encourage them to change the picture, get a different picture and put it in there every month so that it just revitalizes you. You're not got stale information in there. You got new stuff. This is what I used to have in my software under their personal goal, where they would put in their goal and what the cost would be, the down payment, the trade in the old car, all this information. And it also give them how much volume they would have to sell down there to achieve the personal goal. So with that, David is 80% on target. They always want to be at least 100% on target each month to achieve their goal. So David is a little bit behind on his goal. He's not quite on target. Scott is 126% on target. So Scott has sold enough, a little bit more than he's needed, so he can achieve that personal goal by December. All right. So we click on the action plan, and it's going to show them specifically what they have to do to earn their goal. Now, in this particular case, it says, David, you're behind to reach your personal goal, David, but you can correct and get back on target. And here are your minimum activities for this week and the rest of the month to achieve your goal. And so he just follows this plan, and it shows him all the steps of his sale that he needs to make. He's got to make 162 cold calls. He's got to set 6 appointments and do 5 needs analysis and prepare 4 quotes, clear on down to the bottom to deliver, 4 proofs. That's what David has to do. Now, Scott, it says you're ahead to reach your personal goal. Scott, keep the momentum going. Here are the minimum activities for this week and the rest of the goal to stay on target to reach your goal. And so here's what he has to do. He still has to do 188 cold calls and set 5 appointments and do 4 presentations and 4 needs analysis, schedule 2 demos all the way down. This is what he needs to do this week. And in this month, he's got to do X. So it's different than what David has to do because they sell different things and they have a different level of expertise in their selling. So again, we're pulling this information that we need to access from their CRM to know exactly, what steps they need to do and with how they need to course correct for their particular action plan for their monthly goal. Now, one thing that's important to know is David, he sells printing. He has to prepare a quote. He's got to deliver a quote. He has a different sales process than Scott because he's going to schedule a demo for the copier, do the demo for the copier, then prepare a proposal and deliver the proposal. And it's a whole lot different than just preparing a 1-sheet quote. He's going to have a 10-sheet proposal. So they sell different things and they have a different process. So each of their app has to show them what they need to do for them to achieve their goal. All right. Now, what we do know is when a salesperson makes a goal, like I said, 3 months later, they've forgotten about their goal. It's a long-term goal, and they've already lost sight of it 2 weeks later. And so we need to keep them on a short focus on a short attention span. And so with that, we have them focus on a personal reward. Every month, we want you to just spend a little bit of money toward that personal reward. And so we're going to have them set personal rewards every single month. Even though David's goal is to get his Tesla in November, he needs to, let's say this is the month of May or April. So we're talking about the month of May, the goal. And so every month it's going to be different. He's going to set a new goal for June, new one for July, new one for August. Every month they're going to set a new personal reward to just drive themselves to push toward that thing. And if he hits this part, and this is what I always tell him, if you do this part, then that will come. Do this for this goal for your weekend away, and you're going to get the car. Okay. And for David, he just wants to, he doesn't make as much money as Scott or as David. Scott doesn't make as much as David. Let me get this straight. Scott over here has a pair of shoes. He just wants to get some running shoes. That's his goal. He doesn't spend as much money as David. David makes a lot more money than Scott. Okay, so here's his personal goal. He just wants to get a pair of shoes. So if we click on that, it brings him to that reward. And there's other information I might want to have in here, but right now, this is all I have for to show. But David has earned 83% of his personal reward to go on his weekend away, and he wants to spend $600 to be able to go on that weekend away with his wife. Scott, for example, he just wants to buy the running shoes, and he's already earned 56% of it for the month. And he needs to get to 100% by the end of the month so that he can reward himself and buy his shoes. So that's how that works for both of them. we click on the action plan, it's going to show them specifically what they need to do. You're ahead of your goal, David, to reach your personal goal. And here's everything that you need to do to be able to achieve that. Scott, you're also ahead to achieve your goal. And here's what you need to do. So again, we pull that information from the CRM so we can keep it updated on a regular basis so we know exactly what they need to do. Now, those are the personal goal and the personal reward is what the salespeople make for themselves. That is given to them by themselves. They've made that decision to choose those things, and it's up to them to decide on it. Now, we also in our coaching program, we offer a long-term and short-term award as well. So what we provide is an incentive trip. We do this for 12 months at a time. Now, if we have a client that's been with us for 6 years, every year we start a new round, and it doesn't matter if it starts in January or starts in June or whenever they come on board with us. We set a 12-month program, and after 12 months, the salespeople can earn a luxury vacation. And this is part of the coaching program that we provide. So in this particular case, they're working toward a trip, and the trip date's going to be 11/15/2025 or whatever it's going to be, which doesn't match my example here, but anyway, it's going to be over a year from now. And then here's the value of the trip, $22,000, and they're both working on exactly the same trip. Now, in this particular case, David has already earned 77% of his trip, and Scott has only earned 43% of his trip. So Scott's a little bit behind on earning the trip, and David's ahead of earning the trip. Let's take a look at it. And if we click on that button, on the incentive trip button, now we can see a little bit more information on that particular thing. So again, this is the information. And if we look at the whole thing, the start date was 2/1/25 for both of them, and the trip date is now I have a different one in here. So again, they're not accurate according to my example, but this is more of an accurate thing. The last screen was not accurate, but if they started in February of 25, they have to go until the end of January of 25, and then they can go on the 26 actually. That should be 26. I got some errors in here, so disregard those. But where it says trip date, that should be 2026. Not 2025, obviously. The end of the trip is January 31. Not the trip. The end of the date for this contest is 2026. January 2026. So the trip date must be also in 2026. So disregard that it says 2025. Okay. So anyway, it would show that in 2026. Now, they can go on our website. This is part of our website that has our cruises, and they can choose one, and they choose this one. And so that's the one they choose. And that's going to be automatically loaded up into their app, so that all this information is going to be in the website, but they can also pull that into their app. Okay, they can click on here to view more about different cruises if they want. And then here's the ship's photo gallery. It's very important to us to keep pictures in front of them. And then we show different pictures so they get re-motivated, re-excited, something fresh, something new, something different. This again is on the website, but now we want that to go to their own app. And so if they click on here where it says photo gallery, click to view the photos. If they click that, they can see different pictures of that particular cruise ship that can get them motivated and excited about that trip. Next, the sales volume to earn that trip. For David, it's 469,586. For Scott, it's 395,685. And that is because they are selling different things and they have a different selling expertise. Now, if you have 3 people working for the same company, those 3 people will also have a different sales volume that they have to sell to be able to qualify to go on the trip. And that is based on their own personal experience. We get that information. Again, this is old software from my Excel file, is we take their last 12 months history total that all up, and we're going to use that information to determine what they have to sell. Over here, we have a certain additional volume that they have to sell, which we call our warranty, to earn the trip. And then it gives them a total sales volume here. And we pull that information and it shows them here that one guy has to sell 469,000. The other guy has to sell 395,000 by the end of the 12 months. Now, in this particular case, they are both at 58%, where it says year-to-date required volume. They've been in this program at the same time, and so they're both at 58%. But where it says actual volume, the 77% shows that David is ahead of earning the trip, and Scott is at 43%. He's a little bit behind to earn the trip. And so that information is very important. There's the difference there. And David has $88,000 extra that he has already earned ahead of what he should be at this particular time of year. And Scott, he's also started at the same time David started. He should be, have earned a certain amount, but he's only earned 43%. And he's 62,000 behind on the volume that he needs to sell to go on the trip. This is important because in the early days when we first started doing this, we'd set the trip out there, and then the people are behind, they're getting more behind, they're more behind. We weren't paying attention to that as their sales coach. And then after about 7th month, we start to realize, wow, they are so far behind. I don't even think it's possible for them to catch up to earn the trip. We don't want them to get behind. We want to show them right out of the gate, first month, that they're already a little bit behind. Here's what you need to do to go on that trip. Okay. And we keep track of that, this year's volume here in that. And of course, that's going to be kept in the software that I've been having developed. And, but not necessarily on the app, but this now brings them to, here's what the action plan is. Here's what you need to do. You're ahead of the goal, David, to earn the trip, but here's what you still need to do to earn your trip. Scott, you're behind on your goal, and here's what you need to do to get on target to earn the trip for this month. And so it keeps them, on track of that. Again, we're just keeping this information that we're pulling from the CRM so that we can see, what they've done up to date. And on a regular daily basis, it's going to change. Every day it's going to change. This will change on a regular basis as they do this. So now we have another part down here called the bonus. All right. The bonus is if they earn the trip, and by the way, for example, David, he's already 88,000 ahead of his trip. One thing, again, this is by trial and error. When we first started doing this in 1988, didn't realize, the issues that we're going to have and the failures that we were going to have until it was too late. And so we discovered also that if somebody gets so motivated that they get out there and they sell a lot and they've earned their trip, they've earned the $469,000 in 6 months, what happens? The salesperson coasts. He starts to goof off. He doesn't work as hard anymore because he's already earned the trip. And now that causes him to a little complacency. And so what we do is we have a bonus that's on top of that. So this bonus is saying, once you have achieved your trip, you still have a more that you have to do to earn that. And this is where we've had it in our old software, the bonus volume that they need to do. So David did have to sell 469,000 to earn the trip. Scott has to sell 309,000. But to earn the bonus trip, David has to sell 529,000 and Scott has to sell 455,000 to earn that $1,000 cash that he can spend on the trip. And we don't give him the cash until he goes on the trip, and then we hand it to him so he can spend it on the trip and enjoy his trip. Now, if you notice here that what I have here in yellow is David's trip volume is 469,586. Scott's bonus volume is 455,685. Scott's bonus volume is less than David's minimum volume. And that is because of their particular situation, working where they work, and their expertise, their level of expertise. And so that information is all on formulas that I already have, which I can provide the formulas for you so you can get the result that we want to have. But this is how we need to have this on the app so they can see individually what they need to do to earn the trip and to earn the bonus. that is that part. So now, again, I explained before that on the personal goal and the personal reward, we have to have them focus on a short-term goal because just like anybody else, it's so far away, they lose sight of it and they're not hustling as much. So we want to get them hustling right now. And then we have a incentive award. But the difference is the incentive award is a contest. It's between other salespeople as well. To earn the trip, all they have to do is sell a certain volume and they go on the trip. And we ensure that every salesperson goes on the trip. The contests, we're going to have winners and we're going to have losers every single month. Now, in this particular case, David has chosen a Samsung phone. Now, this is part of the things that we offer in our program. He wanted a Samsung phone. If he goes on our website and you choose the awards section, you can see here in level 5, anywhere from $1,000 to $2,500, they can choose one of these awards. And he chose the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold, and it's $1,600 for that particular item. So going back, he chooses that and it uploads into his app, and that is what he's going to choose for his particular um, uh, award. Scott, on the other hand, he's chosen something different. He chose level 4, which is $500 to $1,000. And here's the Dell Inspiron laptop for $730 value. So he's chosen that, and that uploads into his. Okay, so how do they earn that award? 2 different ways. One is the monthly award, and that is every week the sales coach meets with the salesperson and gives them a challenge that they need to work on so they can earn points toward it. So now, if you look in here, we have what improvements could be made, and this is part of the old software that I had. Again, I'm not going to be explaining all that. I will be explaining that in the other video that you can watch that explains more about the software that I want to have developed, and part of it is developed already. But in this particular case, we discover the weaknesses that this particular salesperson has. And let's just say that time management, closing skills, he needs to increase the size of his customer. He needs to increase the profit margin. He needs to work more hours. He's wasting a lot of hours, whatever. And let's just say that I discovered as a sales coach that closing skills is one of the things I need to help him work on. So in here, in our other part of our software, we give him a personal challenge. And we say, okay, here's your personal challenge. You need to practice and memorize this pre-commitment closing technique by next week. So I spend this 2-hour session with him for this week, and I'm teaching him a certain sales technique on how to close a sale better while he's selling printing to his client. Or if it's with a copier salesman, I'm teaching him how to do this sales technique, a pre-commitment on closing his client, selling his copiers or whatever. So with that, the salesperson gets if he does his personal challenge, he gets a certain amount of points for it. Okay. And then he can earn as much as 50 points or $50 worth per month. And so let's say in this particular case, David, he earned $20 in January, $35 in February. And boy, he says, okay, enough of that. I'm not going to screw up anymore. I'm going to make sure I always do my homework and I get passed off on this 100%. And if they get 100% each week, then he gets up to $50. So in March, April, and May, he's been getting $50. $50 in May is not over with. So he's gotten $30 so far or whatever. This is how that works. And then in Scott's case, we have Scott where notice the difference. This is all under Tom. Tom has all of these people that he's coaching, and all of those people are competing together under Tom's group of people. So now they earn a certain amount of points. And those points are based on a bunch of other things, which will be more pertinent, which is going to be part of the software. That's what we'll get to later. But anyway, they earn those points, and then they also have a certain percentage average where they can get their points. And let's just say that David works for this printing company, and there's 2 other salespeople, Steve Johnson and Jim Jacobson. And Steve Johnson's average is is 13,000. Jim's 4,000. He's a low man on the totem pole. He doesn't sell very much. And so the total company average is 11,000, but David sells 16,000. David sells a lot more than any of them. He's their top salesman. Even still, with this information, we have a certain handicap for each person, and this determines how much points they get. And they get a percentage of their personal average and a percentage of their company average based on that. And then we have this contest standing here where we keep track of the salespeople. Now, one downside to when I use this software is every week when I would meet with each salesperson, I meet with each salesperson for 2 hours every week. And a sales coach can work with 20 salespeople, and 20 salespeople times 2 hours is 40 hours a week. So we spend 40 hours a week working with 20 salespeople. And so, but the downside is when I would be meeting with David and I would show him, here's their contest standing, and maybe that's on a Tuesday, but I don't know what happened last Monday or Thursday or Friday until I get to next Monday, Tuesday, Friday. And so their points were not updated except for weekly. And when I would update them weekly, then I would be able to tell them how they're doing. Now that it connects to a CRM, they should be able to update by the minute on a regular basis so the contest can be more accurate. But that's how we did it then. So anyway, I say, okay, David, you've got 511 points, and Scott, you've got 436 points. And so in the contest, each month we have a contest that starts all over. At the beginning of the new month, we start a new contest with the same 20 salespeople. They are all competing with each other, and these are all under Tom, the sales coach. And anybody that's under, Melissa or Sandra or anybody else, they're not in their contest. They're only in Tom's contest. In this particular case, it shows David at any given moment how he's doing in the contest. And maybe it shows him that he is in fourth place. He's got 511 points, and that's how many points he's got. So he can earn $75 so far for this month. And then it's showing him over to the side. If you want to take third place, you're going to have to earn another 67 points. If you want to take second place, you'll have to earn 121 points. If you want to get into first place, you are 183 points behind Bob J., who works for another company, and he's got 675 points. So that shows him how he's doing. Obviously, when you see fourth and fifth place, so 0-0, because he's in fourth place. So he doesn't need to sell or bring any more volume in. And by the way, this doesn't only just determine their volume, but they get points based on every cold call they make, every demo they make, every quote they do, every follow-up they do. Each of those things earn a certain amount of points. And so all those collectively come together and keep track of the points that he has. Now, let's say tomorrow, David looks at this and he popped down into fifth place and somebody else has popped into fourth place just because of their volume or what they have been doing. So it changes on a regular basis. Now, Scott over here, it shows Scott. Bob's in first place, Sam's in second, Gary's in third, David is in fourth place, Melissa is in fifth, but you are not in the running here. You have 436 points, and the person that's in fifth place has 492 points. So here's what you would need to do, Scott. Here's the amount of points that you would need to do to increase your pointage, to still move into first place. And there's a lot of things that they can do in their personal challenge and getting out there and doing a lot of activities, because the activities is what turns into the sales. And so it's not just making more sales, but it's all the activities that lead to those sales. And this is what drives them to do that. So again, now we have David, he works for ABC Company, and Scott works for Acme Company. They work for two separate companies. They have two separate CRMs. Everything is, different. They all do work under Tom, though. Tom is their sales coach. And so all of the people that are under Tom are in the same contest with Tom. They get to know each other very well, and they know who they're competing with on a regular basis. So that is how that works on a regular basis. So now if they go to the action plan, here again, it shows David, you're in fourth place. Great job. Your first place is still within reach. Now that's 500 to you. So here's what you need to do to move into first place. Scott, hey, you're not in the running for the contest yet, but here's what you need to do for you to move into first place. And by the way, we never tell them, by the way, if we have 20 salespeople that are in our contest, somebody's going to be in first place. Every day, someone's in first place. It might change who's going to be in first place, but someone's always in first place. That means somebody's always in 20th place. And you never want to tell somebody you are in 20th place now. That's just too discouraging. They can give up. If they're not in fifth place or better, then they don't know where they fall in the contest. And so they might think they're in sixth place or seventh place. But this is what they need to do, make X amount, 211 cold calls and 6 appointments and 4 presentations. This is what they need to do this week to move them up into hopefully first place. So now they know what they need to do to win that contest. And we got them driving themselves, competing with the other salespeople, pushing themselves so that they can win that contest. And by accident, they're making more and more money. They're bringing more volume. They're earning their trip sooner than they thought, all because of this contest. So now they keep track of this. And so in this particular case, David has earned a total of $185 worth for his monthly awards. And because of the contest, he earned a $75 contest in January. He earned $100 in February. He earned $500 in April. And that's a total of 675. So that gives him a total of 860 points, which means up here, he has now accumulated $860 toward his cell phone. It's $1,600. And that's what he's working towards. And he's hoping to get that in the next 2 or 3 months or whatever. Scott over here. Now, Scott has earned a different thing. Now, notice that Scott has starting March, not January. David over there is starting in January, February, March, April, May, but they started at the same time. What happened? Well, what happened is even though David is getting awards going towards from January all the way through May, Scott is only getting February through May, and that is because Scott chose level 2 in February, and he decided to cash in on a $200 worth, and he wanted a Red Lobster certificate to take his wife out to dinner for Valentine's Day. So finally, that's what he did. And when that happens, that moves January and February out of the running. And now we have March, April, and May into the running. So it continually moves them out. As soon as they cash in on something, it moves them out of there, and it shows what the total amount they have going forward from here. So he now has $135 collectively, and he has $300 collectively from the contest. He earned $250 in March, and he earned $50 in May. He did earn that $200 though in January and February, but he cashed in on that, and so he can't use that anymore. So here's what he's got: a total of $435, and so up here he's got his $435 that's going to go toward that computer that he wants to buy. That shows us how they're doing on their contest in each of those situations. So that's it for that. And now the last piece is the motivational moment. And when they click on the motivational moment, we're going to have a new video every week uploaded. It's going to be a motivational video, a short one, 3 to 10 minutes. And they watch the video. And when the new week comes, we change that video, and it's now a different one. So it's something new, something fresh, keeps them going. They cannot access the previous videos on the app. They can go on our website and they can take a look at all the previous videos, and they can rewatch them anytime they want. They want to remotivate themselves or whatever, but we need fresh information, fresh juice, so that they've got something going for them on a regular basis and nothing becomes stale. So that's the new video that they would watch that particular week. So there it is. That is kind of the idea of the app. It doesn't have to be exactly like this. What I want is a good project manager that I can bring on board that can take everything that I'm trying to accomplish and the reason why, and then build what we need to build and lay it out in the best way possible. So let's get back to this. This is what I am going to be doing for the short period of time, is to find someone who can be doing this. I want a proposal. If you're interested in being the project manager, I want you to give me a proposal for the cost of managing the programmers for the project and the anticipated time frame the project should require. This is what you're going to be telling me that you think it will take. You think it'll take 3 months. You think it'll take 6 months, whatever. And that you're going to spend X amount of time per week to manage this. And doing so, this is what your project is going to require. And you're going to give me your proposal on how much it's going to be for the entire project and then how much I would pay you per month. And then on that monthly basis, I will continue to issue the funds to you as you can, accomplish your job with the programmers. Programmers, I want you, if you're here watching this as a programmer, then I want you to give me a proposal for the cost of programming and anticipated time frame and the project that the project should require. And this is just programming the app, not the software. I'll get a separate proposal from you later to finish the software. You can watch the other video on the software and what needs to be done on that. But for now, I just want you to give me a proposal on finishing this app. And here's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be obtaining proposals from the CTO, project manager, and from software programmers probably, although software programmers might want to wait until I do have my project manager, and because they might tweak some of the things that I have in there. But if you want to get a head start and start on this with a proposal, you're welcome to. I plan to begin the project in April of 2025, and we will go from that point forward. And I will advance you the first month. If you think it's going to take 4 months to accomplish this, we're going to break down the total price into 4 months, and I will advance you 1 month at a time. And as you complete that project and you've reached the milestones, then I will pay you for the next month, and we will continue on as follows. So that is what I am wanting to accomplish here. If you have questions or you want more details, you can email me at coach@excellencequest.com or text me at 406-209-0962. No phone calls, please. Please do not make phone calls. I still have a regular job that I work, and I'm working on this project, and I virtually work 12 to 16 hours a day on trying to get this thing launched. I'm hoping I can launch this by June. Now, if you do have questions, email them to me and I will respond to you. There might be a time when we will finally get to where we can discuss things and we can have a Zoom meeting together, but it's after you have given me information and a quote and things like that. So that's about as much as I have for now. And so I'm going to finish this and get this sent off.